Happy MLK Day. Hope everybody's having a great Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope you guys are having a great start to your year. Happy Money Mondays. Put this message in here and we're going to get started. Happy Money Mondays. All right, cool. Got that out the way. How's everybody feeling out there? How's everybody doing on MLK Day? Did you guys do anything for MLK Day? Anybody do any volunteering? Anything in observance of MLK Day? I know I took my kids. We went to
recording stopped.
We went to a what's up, Frank? What's up, Steven? Yeah, I took my kids and we did we did a little volunteer work earlier, so that was good. Just kind of got to hang out. So I used to do a big event down at Girard College, which was really great. So I like to listen to his speeches on MLK Day. You know what? And I got to be honest with you, I'm kind of guilty of this. I feel like I've only heard his famous speeches, and then I've heard some of his, like, kind of feel like he was just talking to the church speeches, and I was like, damn, like MLK was much more of a fuller person than what they make you believe that he was, right? I feel like history has probably sanitized MLK. He was probably much more of a hardliner, probably much more of a rabble-rouser. Read the letter from the Birmingham jail. I will. Yeah. Again, it's and just quickly before we jump into this, he and Malcolm X were a force. I know. I mean, and I feel like we need something like that. And the reason why I like that, they were both black leaders, but they had different perspectives, right? It wasn't this, all black people think alike. They all want the same thing. And it's like, no, we have different experiences and different perspectives. A lot of us want to see our people do better, but doesn't mean we are in lockstep with strategy. So I think that Malcolm X and MLK was just too. It's seeing two people with two different ways of doing things, two different ideologies, but they really care about the people, right? And I think too much now is this idea that you got to be in lockstep with people, and it's in thought, which is just not true. And just real quickly, before we move on, I had a conversation with my kids about MLK and what MLK meant, and they talked about, of course, what they learned in school, and talked about the Selma bus boycott and how that all happened, and explaining to them about black people used to have to sit in the back of the bus and that whole thing, and I asked them, well, how did that end? They were like, like the bus company just changed their mind. I'm like, no, not even kind of. No, they didn't just change their mind. In fact, it took a lot of action, from black folks and other people back in the day to boycott and not catch the bus and walk and to carpool and all these things. And that was really important to me that I mentioned that, because again, I feel like history has a way of sanitizing movements, right? Making it, yeah, it was a whole year of people we have to understand that it had to be, that was not, what's the word I'm looking for? It was not convenient for those folks at all, right? I'm sure even much less convenient than what we have now, I'm sure. But the other part of it was that there was a unity there, and there was a community and sacrifice. This is a favorite factor. Put sacrifice. There was a sacrifice there that, and I'm not gonna get on my soapbox, I feel like is no longer there. It's no longer there. I think it would be difficult to pull that off right now. Right? I think it would be damn near impossible to do the same thing now. And I don't say that with any, doesn't make me happy to say that. But also I wanted my kids to know that two things. Number one, and this will lead us right into Money Mondays. One is that, people in power don't give you anything. And also the reason why they gave in was because of what Freedom 2.0 said, is that they started to lose money. So I asked my kids, well, what does money represent? And they kind of said, it was like power. I said, yeah, money represents power. That's what it represents. If you have money, you have resources, you have power. So anyway, I thought that was kind of dope. It was a great conversation that I got to have with my kids. And it ultimately it found its way back to the money piece of it, which I like to talk about. Because we need to understand money, and how powerful money is. And with that said, I'm about to bring up our brother that is, and I'm super excited about this because I feel like we could probably get into some technical stuff about money, because he has in such a wide experience. And I'm sure has a perspective that's awesome when it comes to money. So I'm super excited to bring this brother up. I'm gonna bring him up now. Finance Rebel. Waiting to pull this brother up. What money questions do you guys all have? I know that Kaman's background is a lot in with taxes and tax planning and tax preparation. What questions do you guys all have about taxes? Because that's one thing that I think is often overlooked when it comes to entrepreneurship, is the tax piece of this. See something. Can't hear. Can you guys hear me now? I might have had my finger over the well, we can't hear. Can you guys hear me? Just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. You can hear me? Okay. Oh man, I'm as excited about talking to his brother too. Let's see. He was more than a dreamer. Yeah, they definitely killed him for a reason. And I've heard some different theories about why they might have killed him. Some of it was once his movement got beyond just black folks and it started to include poor people in general. Because I don't think For the most part, America is that scared of black-white issues. But once you start messing with the money, once you start messing with the money, man, this sucks. Hold on, let me see if see what I can do here. Let me cancel it. All right. So what questions do you guys all have about taxes? Or are you thinking about, how taxes are going to affect how taxes might affect your business? I'll go into some of the things that I used to talk about a lot. I'm still trying to get, come on up. One of the things I will talk about that I've seen a lot, and I definitely want to get his opinion on this, is that I'd watch a lot of videos, a lot of educational, if you want to call it that, videos on social media. And there's always this push of, hey, you need to think like a billionaire, right? A billionaire doesn't pay taxes. And you got people going out buying G-Wagons and all sorts of nonsense. All sorts of nonsense to try and not pay taxes. And what they often don't consider is the impact of their, not only just of I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on. Come on, I cannot bring you up. I don't know what's going on, brother. And like I said, I was really looking forward to having this conversation. But if you want to share your thoughts in the feed, and then maybe we'll just have to circle back one other day. You said to think like a billionaire is trash. It is. It is trash. Number one, from a mindset point of view, and I understand it's a marketing ploy. And this is one thing that we have to really talk about, is understanding the difference between education and marketing, right? Education is what it is, right? You're learning something new. You're learning something that you don't understand. Marketing is trying to sell you on something, right? And sometimes you can have things that are put across like it's education, but it's really marketing. So to kind of get back to my point is, and I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs run into this problem, is they can't grow their business because their tax returns are trash. Their tax returns are trash, right? And so they're stagnated. They can't get loans, right? Because your tax returns show you made $20,000 last year, right? And I'm not laughing at somebody that makes $20,000, but I'm just saying, if you want to go to a bank and you want to borrow $1 million, $2 million, right? If you want to do a line of credit, whatever the case is, and your tax returns are showing you made $20,000, well, you can't get mad at the bank because you didn't show any money. And what this Finance Rebel says, that we can redo it. That's a great, God doggone it, man. That's a great point. And let me see if I can't go live. Let me see if I hit that, if that'll work. Try it like that. Did that work? Yeah. Nah, that still ain't working. So, so you have all these people, and we went through, especially as real estate investors, we went through years when the market was really good. We had these DSCR loans where you didn't have to show profits. You could get loans based off of your credit, but it was really difficult. Excuse me, to go ahead and get other loans. And now we are in a situation where the real estate market has shifted, but also the credit market has shifted, right? Banks are being tighter on credit, right? So they do care more about how your financials look. And how your financials look matters as you want to grow your business. And if your financials are not that strong, it's always going to limit what kind of deals you can do, right? You might always have to have a partner because you refuse to go ahead and show profits, right? You refuse to go ahead and pay any taxes, right? And I'm not telling you what to do with your, you have to figure out your own strategy. But you need to get with somebody like the Finance Rebel, to somebody who understands taxes and say, hey, listen, this is what I'm trying to accomplish, right? What's the best way for me to structure my business, right? What kind of entities should I have? How should that be structured? What things should I be writing off? What things should I not be writing off? What things are red flags when I go into a bank? And then if you're an entrepreneur and you want to go ahead and you want to buy a home, what is that going to look like when you have these years of tax returns that show no money? I'm interested if you're still there, Camari, when you say that they can redo it, how far back can you go and redo your taxes? Like how far back? And while we're waiting, somebody asked about a misconception about taxes. Like one of the things I didn't understand about taxes is that I used to get like everybody else. Every year I get super excited for tax returns. Super excited. Oh my God, it's tax season, right? Because I was raised on that. Everybody that was around me was like, tax return season was like, that was the major season for, okay, I'm gonna get this extra money. What I didn't realize that what a tax return was, all a tax return is basically a interest-free loan to the government. So when you get your tax returns, that means you overpaid the government, right? They held that money for, some cases 13, 14 months. They pay you no interest on it at all, right? And then you have to jump through some hoops to go ahead and get that money back. One of the things that I do like about being a real estate investor and being an entrepreneur, period, is I hold all of my money all year, even further, because I file extensions every single year. So I get to hold that money for at least 18 months, right? So I get my money is making money, right? And we all know that what does money like? Movement. Money wants to be moving around, right? So I have all that time to have my money out there moving around, right? So for me, I would prefer that, right? To actually have access to all of my cash, right? Be able to make returns on that cash. Now you can put some money aside for taxes as well, which I definitely recommend. You put some money aside. But unlike a W-2 worker, you have an option. If you're a W-2 worker, you don't have an option, right? You just have to go ahead and get the money taken out of your check, whether you want to or not. But that is something that, as you start getting into real estate, as you're getting into business, you want to not only think about how is my business going to operate, but how am I going to be taxed, right? And there are some things that you can do to lower your taxable income, right? But there's a lot of things that you can do, which is why I recommend that you get tax planning done. Find somebody that understands your industry, understands what you're trying to achieve. Speak with them and excuse me, and strategize so you can figure out, okay, I know how much money I'm trying to make, right, in profits. I know how much money I want to pay in taxes. So here's a strategy that I want to utilize to go ahead and try to hit that mark, right? But if you don't have that conversation with a certified tax planner or with your accountant, with your CPA, you'll get to the end of the year and you won't realize, oh man, I could have done all these different things to then reduce my taxable income. You know, there are a bunch of strategies out there, right? And again, this is not tax advice. I am not a tax professional, right? But I've been in the game long. I've been in it long enough, and I have a really good CPA, so I know a lot of the different strategies that you can use. You know, like some people, you can pay your own children if it's set up right, right? You can make contributions into a retirement account if it's set up right. Excuse me, and that will bring down your taxable income. And all these are ways that you get to, if you have to pay the money anyway, right? Wouldn't you prefer to pay your children? Wouldn't you prefer to put money, put the money into your retirement account and not into, paying taxes? So if you guys haven't, as part of your team, right? As part of your team, you need a tax professional, right? And it doesn't have to be that difficult. I was definitely hoping to get this again with him, but since I can't for some reason, and this is the good and bad when it comes to technology. Sometimes things work out, sometimes they don't. So we'll just get into whatever else that you guys want to talk about as far as Money Mondays goes. So what are you seeing out in the market, right? What questions do you all have about money? What are some misconceptions that you've learned that you're now unlearning? Like, wow, like I didn't realize that, that was bad. It was bad information. Because a lot of this process that I've gone through in being a real estate investor, most of it is mental, is mindset, right? So a lot of things you guys have heard me say, I had to unlearn a lot of bad information. Estate planning, that's a great one. Favorite factor, that's a great one. And I see this all the time. And unfortunately, I'm sure it happens in a lot of communities. But I do see this a lot in like black communities where we don't understand estates, right? You get somebody like their grandma passed away and they say, oh, grandma promised me the house. And they've been living in the house for 10 years and the property has never been probated. It's never been properly probated. So they think they're the owner, but they're not really the owner. Or you have somebody who started buying real estate or has businesses, but they don't have that estate plan set up. And so going back to taxes again, now you're paying a lot more fees and costs because there wasn't a cohesive plan. There wasn't a structure in place. So as you guys are growing, you have to, it's your responsibility to go out there and say, okay, well, what are all the things I need to learn? I had to learn that. And I had to go out and find a lawyer that set my estate up, right? With all my different properties and businesses. Because the big thing is when when I leave this earth, at some point I'm going to not be here, right? Like, I know my wife doesn't want to have to deal with all that. I know she doesn't probably really want to be a landlord, and I don't want that to be weighing heavy on her to have to figure all these things out after I'm gone. And I think that, like, that's just a responsible thing to do. Like, as you're growing this portfolio, as you're growing your business, as you're becoming more wealthy, you have to plan, right? You have to plan for, how are you going to transfer this wealth, right? As we talk about generational wealth, we talk about these things. A lot of us are first generation wealth builders. I'm a first generation wealth builder, right? And so I take that seriously. It's like, I don't want to be a flash in the pan. I want to make sure that when I'm not here, that there's something in place to go to the next level. It says, can you give me the deets on the estate lawyer, please? And thank you. Yeah, I used a lawyer. Her name is Rhonda Nicole. I gotta look at her. I gotta look up her last name. But I know she specializes in estate planning. I met her through the Bragg group. If you guys are not a part of Bragg, you should definitely check out Bragg Investors. She came in and she did a presentation on estates and on estate planning. And it's funny, like, is Anderson is her last name? Okay. Yeah, Rhonda Anderson. Okay, Anderson. Yeah, so she handled my estate planning. She made it about as simple as I believe you can make that process, right? When I repost this, I'll tag her in the live, and if you want to reach out to her, you can definitely do that. But excuse me, yeah, I used her, but ultimately now I feel better. I can sleep better. I know that when my time is up, there's something in place. There's things are in order, right? And so we don't have to have all this squabbling and, oh, Dan told me this and Dan said I could have that. No. Everything Dan said is right in his document. It's all in these documents. I have things for different people in there, but it's all right there. So we don't got to do all this, he say, she say, and it's just such an emotional time. You don't really want people to have to make a lot of financial decisions during that time. So the more that you can set that up on the front end, then that's best for your whole family. Seriously, we all should have a dead box. I don't know what's a dead box. Maybe you meant to write something else. But yeah, no, I think that's like the non-sexy part of this wealth building, right? There's a lot of responsibility that comes along with wealth building. It's not just like, oh, I'm getting money and excuse me, I got fly cars and I can travel all around the world, and you can get to do that. That's cool. But if you want to maintain it, we've all seen people make a lot of money, lose a lot of money, right? And most of it is just not paying attention to maintaining the wealth. All they're paying attention to is trying to get more money. But if you're getting more money and there's no structure in place, there's no tax planning. So we talked about that. Obviously, I was hoping to talk to the finance rebel, get some background on him so you guys can kind of just get a feel for what that might look like, right? So if not that, brother, somebody that you can go to on your team. We need a team. Everybody needs a team. Like on my team, I have people on my team who are smarter than me in a lot of different areas. My focus is being able to buy and execute on real estate really well. But I have lawyers, I have engineers, I have accountants, all sorts of people that help structure all of the other pieces around it. So as you build this business up, you need those people there to make sure that you don't just make money, you keep the money, right? You don't just keep the money, that you can transfer it to the next generation in an orderly way. So it's not chaos. When you go, everybody's going all over the place. Nah, he said when he died, I can have that rental property, right? It'd be the family member that ain't talked to you in 10 years that you promised them they can have. It's always that family. We all know that family member that ain't talked to grandma in 5-10 years, but she promised her the mink coat. You know what I'm saying? So to even get rid of all those issues, start practicing getting yourself organized and structured. I know it's not sexy, but these are the things that we need to do so that we can maintain wealth. All right. So what is your choice of life insurance? That's a good question. So, and that's another, that's a good Money Monday question. So again, a lot of these things I've learned along the way. And this is not, again, you make your own decision. I work with somebody put them on here. I think I work with Curtis May. So I do have a term. I think term has its place, right? Term has its place. If you're healthy enough and you're young enough, it's cheap. It's cheap, right? But again, once you start to think about wealth building, and where do I store my money? Do I want to store my money in a bank where I have less control, or do I want to store my cash in my own bank that I control, that I can borrow from when I want to? So I have term policies and I have whole life policies. My personal philosophy is I like to maintain enough insurance so that when I go, my wife has the ability to stroke a check and pay off every single property that I have like that. So I maintain enough insurance to do that. Pay off all debts, right? I own a decent amount of real estate. That's a pretty decent check, but day one. And I always tell people, if you found out I drowned in a bathtub, you may know who to look out for, who to look at first. But but I do both. But I think as part of your education, as part of your growth in business, you want to look into these things too. Talk to an insurance broker. Ask them, questions. Do research though, right? Again, you have to understand there's always some sales in everything, right? There's always some sales. Listen, at some point I'm going to sell you something, right? Question everything, but you take the information in and see if it makes sense. See not only if it makes sense, right? That's number one. See if it makes sense for you. Because what I'm saying might make sense for somebody, but it may not make sense for somebody else. Everybody's circumstances is different. But I like the idea, if you have no insurance, let's at least get a term policy so that way we're not burdening our family with scrambling. Again, this is all about, let's not make our family scramble when we leave here. Right? Let's not make that situation even worse because we didn't properly plan, right? We thought we were going to live to 200. We all going to check out of here one day. But that is a few things I can guarantee you. That's one of them. We're going to check up out of here. So you want to prepare. You want to not be a burden on your family. At least I think you want to not be a burden. Some people don't give a shit. They're like, well, I'm not going to be here. I don't want to be a burden on my family. So I think that both of those policies has their place. I definitely recommend Curtis May, I've been working with him for years. Super just intelligent guy, man. He just understands not only the policies and using them as your own bank, but he understands how that works as far as real estate investors. If you invest in businesses, it doesn't matter, right? So not only how to use the function as a bank, but what strategies you might want to use them with. So again, that goes back to building out that team. You won't know everything. It's impossible for you to know everything, but you want to have people around you that are smarter than you. This is super important. These guys are smarter than me. I'm happy about that. I want folks to be smarter than me so that way I can go to them and ask them questions, right? So that again, that goes back to mindset. You have to be the smartest person around you it's going to make things difficult. You don't want to be the smartest person around. You want people around you that know more than you. Like almost always, in some way, shape, or form, you want people that you can go to say, hey, here's what I'm thinking about doing. Does this make sense? Right? And then in return, you find a way to add value to that person. If you follow me, you'll always hear me say, always find a way to add value. So like one of the things that I do is when I get into these rooms, I've said this many times, right? I never, ever ask, and especially with people who are doing much more than me, I never ask for anything. Number one, I'm listening more than I'm talking, way more. I'm listening. And I'm intentionally listening to see how can I be an asset to this individual. Like intentionally listening. Oh, okay. You know what? Hey, I heard that you have this thing. You know what? I know a guy over here doing this thing. I can make that connection for you. I'm not asking for anything. But now I've shown myself, okay, I can be an asset, because a lot of times what we think of as assets is just financial only, cash. But assets come in a lot of shape, forms, and fashion. Asset can come in the form of time, right? Which means if you're talking to somebody who is an extremely busy person, they may have a lot of money, but what they may not have is a lot of time. And you may have more time. So you say, you know what? I heard that you need somebody to fill in here. Boom. Then you go fill in. You're welcome, Mosley. So you find a way. But if you can do that, if you can find a way to get into rooms with people that are doing more than you, people that you aspire to be like, and when you get into those rooms, be intentional about bringing value to those folks. I'm telling you, it will open so many doors. But what happens a lot of times, people they're just selfish in nature. They may not even realize it, but it's all about them. They get into those rooms and they're like locusts. They just want to take. I want to take this. Hey, can I pick your brain? Can I pick your brain? Can I? And then like after a while, people are like, man, like get this dude out of here. Like get this person out of here. They're not adding any value to the group. All they're doing is taking. All right, so I'm gonna go back. I was asking about the market. Somebody says that they're saying that the properties are overpriced right now. I'm actually seeing different. Who said that? I need some education on exit strategy. Can you give me the lawyer? Okay, properties are still overpriced. Yeah, I am Breeze. I don't know if you're still on here, but I'm actually seeing properties at some really good prices. Now, the thing that you want to really, there's a couple of things that we want to think about in this market. We are in. We should all know this by now. We are in a different market than we were, for the previous almost 10 years, right? But more recently in the last 2-3 years, right? Which means that a lot of investors were executing the BRRRR strategy, right? They're buying properties, fixing them up, they are rehabbing them, and they're renting them out, right? So they're buying properties, they are buying distressed properties, they're forcing appreciation through the rehab, right? they're then renting the property out, stabilizing that asset, and then going to a bank and say, hey, I want a loan based on the new valuation of the property. And so then they get a loan and they recoup the invested capital, right? Almost everybody knows the BRRRR strategy. The problem, or not the problem, one of the issues that happened was a couple of things. The market was red hot, meaning everybody and their mother, brother, sister that had a heartbeat thought that they could invest in real estate, right? The money was cheap. It was easily accessible. Hard money lenders was lending money out. And so really the only way, or the most popular way to actually to BRRRR projects was if you did these over-the-top rehabs, right? And so we've all seen them. Granite this, marble that, just, beautiful, beautiful rehabs. But you had to put a lot of money into those deals because the only properties you could buy that you could force appreciation was properties that were extremely distressed. Some of them, they didn't have a roof. You were basically getting sometimes 4 walls, sometimes 3 walls, right? And so you had to do these over the top rehabs. But now what I'm seeing, and I was saying this in the last Money Mondays, what I'm seeing is what I saw shortly after 2008 and 9 when the real estate market collapsed, but for different reasons. At that point, what I saw was a lot of banks that took back properties were putting them on the market at such a glut that the prices were depressed. The prices were low, but also the actual properties were not that distressed. So the distress was with the banks, not with the property. Okay? And so from 2010 to 2014, 15, that's all I bought. Single family properties. I did some multifamilies too. That needed, paint, maybe some flooring. I was in and out 30, 45 days, done. Now what I'm seeing is those sort of deals come back and they're on the MLS where you have properties that are not in distress, but I believe the owners are in distress. The owners need to get rid of the property for one reason or another. Doesn't super matter. And so you're able to get these properties. And to go back to what I was saying earlier, if you get out of the idea that the property has to be a luxury property, it has to be, this fantastical rehab you have to do. If you get out of that mindset, I'm not saying you do, but a lot of investors have this idea that these properties have to have all these things. And when most people don't want that, number one, most people can't afford that. Philadelphia is not a wealthy city by far. Most of the residents are working class individuals. They don't have a lot of money. So what do they want? They want a safe place. They want a functional place. And if you can do that, right, you don't have to do these big rehabs. In fact, I give you one of the best plays that I did for a long time, or I won't call them plays, strategies that I used for a long time, was I would buy these properties, I would fix them up so that they were safe, clean, right? So like pig on a, so that it was a lipstick on a pig deal is what some people call it, right? But these are, to be clear, these are safe, clean properties, but they're not over the top. You rent them out for 5 years. You already got your money back because you did the BRRRR strategy to them. So you made your money back. You cash flow for 5 years. Then when the market went up, what I would do is as tenants turn, I go in there. I'd maybe change the kitchen, maybe put some granite down, change appliances. And those deals would kill. Those were great. Those are some of my best, most profitable deals. It really wasn't the deals that I did this ton of rehab on, aside from the multifamily conversion projects that I do, which is a totally different animal. But on the residential side, buying properties that are lipstick on a pig, rent them out for like 5 years. Once that market changes and it's starting to shoot up, because here's the thing, your base price on that property is super low, right? So you can even undercut the market a little bit, right? It doesn't have to be as fancy, and yours will sell all day because not everybody wants that super fancy property. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that strategy? Do you think that makes sense? Do you think you're seeing that out there? What's your thoughts on that? And while we're waiting on that, I want to let everybody know this Wednesday, we're having our first brag meeting of the year. We're going to have Boone is going to be there. He's going to be talking about an investing proof your real estate deals. He's going to be talking about how to find off-market deals. He's going to be talking about how he finances his deals, both with business credit and regular bank funding. And he's going to go over a flip project that he's doing currently. So if you're not a Bragg member, you definitely want to check this out. You guys can click the link in my bio. This is a virtual meeting, so you can watch it from the comfort of your home. This Wednesday from 7 to 9 p.m. Invest proof your deals. So it's going to be Derek Boone. He's going to be talking about, again, how to find off-market deals. He's going to be talking about how he finances his deals. And he's going to be also going over a flip project that he's currently doing. This Wednesday, 7 to 9 p.m. Check out at Bragg Investors from 7 to 9 p.m. It's going to be a virtual meeting. So, great. All right, I am Bree says, sounds great. It makes a lot of sense. Yeah, so I would start maybe looking at that differently. I've talked about this at the start of the year about pivoting on. I don't know what your exact strategy is or was, but this market you're gonna have to pivot so that you can find some good deals. I think that as the pain from 2023 kind of makes its way through, I think we still have a lot of pain there that hasn't quite worked its way out. I think there's going to be some really good deals. I don't feel like this is the kind of market that you have to force deals. I think this is the kind of market that you look at a lot of deals, you make offers, and stick to your game plan, and just make sure, especially if you're buying a buy and hold deal, that the deals make sense with the current interest rates, that they'll be able to cash flow, that they'll be able to meet the DSCR of the lender that you want to work with. So you want to, in the background, and we talked about this earlier about building teams. Well, as part of building your team, you should also be building out your lender list, right? So making sure you have multiple lenders that you can go to that have an appetite for the sort of deals that you're buying, so you have a pretty good idea of where you want to be, as far as that goes. So keep building that team up. I mean, I think that's kind of the best thing that I can tell you guys. I really feel, hopefully, come on, I'm gonna reach back out to you, bro. I don't know what happened with why I couldn't bring you up here, man. I definitely want to get you back. Again, if you guys are not following him, it's The Finance Rebel. It's The Finance Rebel. A lot of great information. I know he does some YouTube stuff too. I've seen you talk with another brother that I follow. His name is JT. A lot of practical information that I think can help you guys grow. All right, I think I'm gonna wrap this up. Get ready to go watch the Eagles game. See if these boys can pull it out, and even though they've been kind of sucking lately, we'll check them out. So listen, man, everybody have a great night, and keep in mind again the Bragg meeting this Wednesday, 7 to 9 p.m. Derek Boone is going to be talking about how he finds off-market deals, how he finances his deals, and he's also going to go through his flip project he's doing right now. So if you want to learn how to find off-market deals, so you don't have to necessarily wait on agents or wait on wholesalers. If you want to learn how to finance deals through business credit and through banks and through hard money lenders, and if you want to see a real live a real live walkthrough of a project, you want to be at this meeting. Plus, you want to be a part of Bragg anyway. It's a great group. It's a great community, and more than ever, especially in this market, you don't want to go it alone. This is not the time to be what I call a secret squirrel investor. This is the time to build that community, build that brain trust. Don't be the smartest person in the room, and you do that by joining groups like Bragg, so that you can bounce ideas off of people that are in the business. Say go Birds. I pray they win. Hey, you know what, man? They probably will pull it out. I don't know how much faith I have in them after this, but anyway, I'm rooting. All right, guys. I'll talk to you all later.